We will unmute you at the end if you have any questions. As we go through this information, please feel free to send us any questions that you have, and we'll address those as they come in. The agenda today is to cover visto, digital badging, our committee meeting summary, CAM best practices guide, CAM multi-select practice test, NAAEI skill standards, CAM test prep webinar dates, NALP train the trainer dates, and then any other discussion items that you may have. So what I'd like to do is walk through our visto update. This is the same update we gave last week at our committee meetings. Since we met last a month ago, we have been back and forth with Grace Hill to determine the best way to launch visto. They have been having some delays onboarding some of their existing corporate customers. There are some issues with some of the courses that are being brought over, and they're taking longer to bring over to the new system. So what we felt is it made sense to start at the beginning of the new year rather than to launch a new system in December. So our official launch date will be January 4th, 2017, and the migration from our NAAEI CPS system to visto will occur on December 30th. On December 30th, what we will be doing is sending over to the new system all of our IDs, our passwords, and other information, what courses people have taken, where they are within the course, etc. So all that data will be brought over. But we will not be able to log into the new system till January 4th, which means that from Friday, December 30th through January 4th, there will be no access to the system. So just wanted to make sure you had that date, and I'll go through how we're going to provide you with information to send out to the designates who are in need of accessing CAMT on the new system, as well as any other customers that you may have. So we'll cover those in a minute. We will have the official launch on January 4th, and that's going to be probably for a month, a soft launch. We just want to make sure, when I say soft launch, that we have friends and family. That would be any of our existing customers, any of our credential holders that need to earn CECs, and any people who are enrolled in CAMT who need to have access to the system. And then once we're sure that everything is working well, we'll start to promote visto to all of the NAA members, provide you with the tools you'll need to promote to your members as well. We expect that the next big date for you after our launch on January 4th will be July 1. That's when we will have onboarded any of the courses that you have that you want to launch on the system, as well as by that time we will have the some of the systems that will be manual in the beginning. Those will be automatic by that time, and we'll have built out the affiliate dashboard to your specifications so that you can access the information that you need. Just to review what credential programs will be available on visto, we will have CAM available on visto in January. CAS will also be available on visto in January. We're looking at the student housing course being available probably during the first quarter, probably more like fully be available. Marketing for
I don't know. How did it just stop on there?
It just stopped.
Yeah, you just can hear every sound, every periodically. What do you want me to do? Is there another way we can get to these people? Am I the only one who can't hear?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Hello? Okay, I apologize. We understood from staff that we were having some sound issues. If this is better, could you please just email back to us that this is better and you can hear us? Okay, terrific. Sorry about that. Today is not our day. Okay, so you'll receive that marketing toolkit the week of November 28th. I'd really appreciate it if you take a look at the slide afterwards, and if there's some items that you think would be really critical for you that we have not listed here, or some information that you want to make sure we include in the toolkit, please feel free to send me or to send Kim that information so that we make sure we include it. We are going to reach out. We have some early adopters who have raised their hands. We're going to reach out to them and ask them to take a look at the toolkit before we send it out to all of you. And they'll review it along the way. So, but it's a lot easier to get that information in now than a little bit later, since we have a pretty tight deadline and Thanksgiving. Before we launch live in January, we'd like to have some live online webinars to walk you through what the system looks like, how to access the system, how people will access the systems beginning on January 4th. So we have 3 dates that we have worked with Grace Hill to deliver this live webinar on: November 30th, December 2nd, and December 5th. You do not have to go to all 3 of these. If you attend one, you will get the information that you need. We will record the webinar, so if people miss it because those dates are bad for people, they can certainly come in and take a look at it after the fact. So you may want to get those dates on your calendar. And I'm going to suggest that we do those webinars at 2 o'clock, at the same time we do this one, since it seems to be working well for us. The second item that I wanted to make you aware of is NAAEI is going to be adopting digital credentials effective in January of next year. And this is not in lieu of sending out certificates. This would be in addition to our current process where we send people who have earned a credential their certificate and their PIN. But after a presentation at ASAE, it became apparent that digital credentials could be a great way for not only our credential holders to let their families, their friends, and their colleagues know that they earned our credential, but also for their colleagues to learn more about the credential they earned and about NAAEI and our programs. So the digital credential is currently used by a lot of organizations, and many of those are organizations that have high stake credentials. So it's working in some of the medical professional fields as well as in some of the insurance as well as risk management fields. So we think that, there's enough associations out there that have adopted these credentials and they're working well. And we have a company that has been in this space doing this for a few years, and we're very impressed with their platform. They make it easy for us to manage everything here with the credential. The way a digital credential works is that once someone earns, let's say, their CAM credential, they will be sent an email, and that email would be coming from us at NAAEI saying that they are able to go to this site and to claim their credential. And then once they claim the credential, they can use that credential logo on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on their signature in their email. They could use it as well on maybe an apartment community website where you list the staff. So the credential can be used in a variety of ways, and they can make the decision that they want to share that credential with all of their Facebook friends or all of their LinkedIn colleagues, and that means that hundreds of people would be learning more about CAM. There's also a validation. So let's say that someone sends out to a colleague that I've just earned my CAM. When that person receives that information from LinkedIn or from Facebook, they can click on that badge or digital credential, and they will see that NAAEI is the issuing organization. They would see that that person had to take 54 hours of classroom training. They had to take a 4-hour, 2-part exam, and they would learn that that person needs to renew that credential every year and earn 6 continuing education credits. So it's a way for us to get information out about our credentials.
We have one question.
Yeah.
Does the badge remove itself if they let their designation lapse?
The question was, does the badge remove itself when you let your designation lapse? And the answer to that is, no, it doesn't remove itself. However, what will happen is the date on that badge will turn red, and it will show that that credential has lapsed. So, and a second thing happens. They could no longer go and claim that credential and add it to any social media or anything else. Once you have let that credential lapse and you haven't renewed, that means that you can't use it anymore. And where it is, it's going to remain, but they have developed a way to print that date in red so people can see that you're behind or you're not up to date on your credential. So this is hard to read, but it's the notification email that would come through that would tell you that you can go and log on here and retrieve your credential. And then you would create the learner would create their profile in this called the Vault. It's called Pro Exam Vault is the name of the company that we would use. So that person would put their profile in, and then after that profile is put in, they can decide to share with many of those social media methods. And then once they share the credential, the person who receives that credential can learn more about it by hovering over it and clicking on it. This is an example of the information that one would have if when you go to the page, and you will see what this person had to do to earn the credential, as well as what their good through date or when is their expiration date. And there's an opportunity to learn more about NAAEI, as well as we could also have ads up for any other programming we think would be appropriate for that audience.
Another question, is there a cost to the credential badge?
There is no cost. We were very pleased at how inexpensive it is for us to adopt this. So this will be issued not only to people who earn their credential for the first time, but in 2017 as people pay their dues and renew their credential, we'll be sending them the digital credential that at that time they can go and claim that. So you will also be able to claim this during the renewal period.
So that was the next question, will this be retroactive?
Yes, it will be retroactive, but we will wait until people have paid their dues and reported their CECs in 2017 to start that.
Final question, do they need to log into the ProExam Vault website to get their badge?
They'll be, I believe that it will be through ProExam Vault, but we'll probably have a login that has something to do with NAAEI, so it will be like a microsite on that vault. And last but not least, we did have one action that came out of our meetings last week. We've had, through the years, we've had some concerns that perhaps when we talk about the requirements to earn our credentials that we aren't specific enough. So we had a task force that Suzanne Comer led with Susan Sherfield, and we took a look at our current requirements and discussed how we might be able to improve those. So I'm pleased to report there are no major changes, so don't get nervous. What we have is just what we think is some language that makes things more specific for people. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the fact that there seems to be confusion. The experience requirement pertains to whether you can, if you've taken the exam and you've taken the course, whether you can claim that credential because you have the requirements met that credential has. So it's not whether you can sit for the course and sit for the exam. There are many people that will start off taking CAM and they don't have that 12 months of property management experience. They may have only 6 or 7, and that it doesn't preclude them from coming to your course and sitting through not only the coursework but taking the exam. It's just a matter of when we take a look to see if you have the experience in order to issue a certificate to you. If you don't have that experience, we will wait to issue the certificate till when you gain that experience. So that's an overall thing that I think has been misunderstood over the past few years. Let's start off with CAM. The current requirement is a minimum of 12 months of on-site property management experience. And what we're recommending is a slight change where we say a minimum of 12 months of on-site property management experience in a management role or position. And that we've had some discussion about whether people who are assistant managers, whether it makes sense for them to sit for the CAM course and exam. And, we don't want to limit who can sit and attend the course or the exam. What we thought might be more meaningful and helpful would be if we developed a self-assessment that we have on our website where we could identify what some of the competencies are that you would need to demonstrate in order to earn the credential. And it's a quick way for someone to say, oh, I haven't really done this, or gosh, I've never developed a budget. I haven't developed a budget yet. Oh, there's something else that I haven't done. And again, we're not having this self-assessment there to tell someone, well, that means you should not take the course. What we want to do is say, okay, if you haven't done this, these are some things that you might want to do before you take the course. And it could be anything from reading a chapter in the multifamily textbook to, taking financial boot camp, or it may even be, why don't you sit down with your manager and spend time learning more about your budget and about your monthly financials. So this is just a quick assessment with some recommendations on how you can improve those skills that you think you may not have adequate skills for. The other thing is, for all of these credentials, we have language now that talks about what happens if you don't have that experience requirement. And what you would do is you would receive a provisional credential, a provisional CAM. And as soon as you meet that experience requirement, we'd send you your certificate, we'd send you your PIN. But if you're in limbo for a few months, you would still have a provisional certificate with a letter that would explain to anyone that you sat for the exam and passed it, you attended all the courses. We're just waiting on 1 month, 2 months of experience. So you'll notice that we have this provisional language for each credential, so I'm not going to go over that with each one. With CAMT, we did not have to change anything with this. What we did was added the standard provisional CAMT information, because that one already stated that you needed a minimum of 12 months of apartment or rental housing maintenance experience. For NALP, the current language is minimum of 6 months of on-site property management experience, and we changed that to say minimum of 6 months of on-site property management experience in a leasing role or position. And again, we've added the provisional NALP. For CAPS, we did spend some time on CAPS, and currently we have minimum of 24 months of multi-site property management experience, or be a CAM, ARM, or RAM credential holder in good standing with 24 months of management experience. We changed that by removing the RAM, because we really don't encounter RAM anymore. The HBI stopped offering, they stopped offering RAM a number of years ago. So we removed that, so it says minimum of 24 months of multi-site property management experience, or be a CAM or ARM credential holder in good standing and have 24 months of management experience in a management role or position. So this wasn't, we just defined that you needed to be in a management role or position for 24 months, which could be that you were a property manager for 24 months, or you could have been an assistant manager and a property manager. And then one last thing that comes up a lot, and that is people who move from the property management side of the business to the supplier partner side of the business. We get calls all the time, people want to change their CAM to CAS or want to change their CAS to CAM, and we discussed this, and what we thought made the most sense was that someone who has earned their CAM and moves to the supplier partner side of our business can continue to hold their CAM and also earn a CAS by paying $175 to cover the cost of the Supplier Success course, the CAS certificate, and the CAS PIN. And that person would hold both credentials. They would need to pay annual dues for both credentials, and they would need to earn and report 6 CECs annually. And the reason we determined that it made sense to offer this option so they maintain their CAM as well as have CAS is we think that it gives them a real edge as a supplier to be able to pretty much broadcast to their customers that, hey, I was in your shoes, I worked on that part of the business and have my CAM. So we felt that that's something that's really quite strong for people that move from property management over to the supplier side, and it would probably be better to allow them to keep that and then earn the CAS on top of the CAM. So Amy, I bet there's some questions.
Yes, a few questions. One is, if they pass the competency test, do they not need the 12-month requirement?
No, the 12-month requirement is, that is the requirement. If they pass the competency test, all that means is this competency test is just like 3 or 4 questions. It's not an exam. It's, have you, as an example, have you on a regular basis been reviewing monthly financial statements? I've made that up, but that, so it's in no way a measurement of someone's abilities and skills as our CAM exam is.
Okay. When will the self-assessment be available?
We'll have that available in January.
Okay, and lastly, so they will need to contact NAAEI once they hit their experience requirement to get their certificate. Would it be possible for that to automatically be triggered when the experience requirement is reached?
And actually, that's what happens. As long as they work in the industry, we work with community colleges where these are not people that have any experience at all. So when they register or enroll with NAAEI, they don't have any experience. And those are the people that need to contact us. Actually, if someone says to, when they enroll, if they say they joined the apartment industry on such and such a date, well, I just thought of the fact that we just asked them when they joined the industry, so we need to see if there's a way to ask when they started their current position. Oh gosh, I'm glad you asked that question, because we have some thinking to do about how this is done. I think the one thing I can say is we only find this an issue really when we work with community colleges and Goodwill, where we're bringing people from outside the industry in for training. We really haven't had this as a problem. However, I think we need to come up with and tell people what they need to do in order to retrieve that certificate if they happen to be someone that gets that provisional credential. So we'll mull through this and we'll have an answer for you. Hopefully on next month's call we'll be able to address that. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Amy. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. I just wanted to point out a few resources that I've added to the website for you to help you in your work with the credentials. The first is the CAM Best Practices Guide. This is along the same lines as the CAMT and NALP Affiliate Best Practices Guides that have been around for a year and a half. And this one is based on our new CAM curriculum. But it goes through, for anyone who's not familiar, from a year out to when you want to hold your classes, all of the different steps that you need to take, securing your instructors and your location and marketing, planning with your instructors, course materials, all of the parts and pieces that you need to pull together when you're offering the credential. So I hope you'll find it helpful. It's on our website in the Instructor Resources section. If you can't find it, please let me know and I'd be happy to send it to you directly if you want to send me an email. And the next resource that I put together is the CAM Multi-Select Practice Test. So this is located, I put this on the Instructor Resources page and also in Candidate Resources. And this is for the new CAM exam. The exam changed slightly from the current version to the new one in that we changed the formatting of some of the questions. We took away the drag and drop questions. There are several questions on the new exam that involve multiple answers. So one question might have 3 or 4 answers that all need to be selected for the answer to be correct. And because that's a new format, I created a practice test so that people could get familiar with how to answer those questions. And so this is just a very simple, I think there's 23 questions. It is relevant content, but the main purpose of this test is to get them familiar with choosing multiple correct answers for any one question, and it will give them feedback on what their answers are, and they can retake this as many times as they'd like. So it's found in the same area as the practice test right next to it. It's just another way to get ready for the exam. A third resource that is relatively new are the NAAEI skill standards, which is an updated document that you'll find in the credential holder benefits section of our website. And there are skill standards listed here for NALP, CAMT, CAPS, and CAM. And these are the updated skill standards in a very attractive format. So if you find them useful, or you can direct potential participants to them if they're interested in getting a more in-depth sense of what the curriculum of each of the credential programs contains. So that's it for the new resources. We have two new CAM test prep webinars coming up. One is on Thursday, and then a month later we'll have another one. So these are the registration links here for those. Please distribute those as necessary. We also have this week an NALP Train the Trainer webinar. So please invite any instructors who would like to participate in that to attend that webinar. And this will be recorded. So if somebody misses it, I'm always happy to send out the link for that if you have an instructor who can't attend but wants to be a part of it. Finally, I wanted to send out a reminder when you're creating your marketing materials on your website, any kind of time you're using the credentials, to use the correct terminology and logos in your print materials and on your websites. For example, we've noticed sometimes, and this is an easy mistake to make, but for CAMT, the actual words for the acronym are Certificate for Apartment Maintenance Technicians. It's not Certified Apartment Maintenance Technicians, and that one particularly matters for our ANSI accreditation. It's very important that we do not say that these people are certified. That is, this is a certificate program. So please make sure that you have that spelled out correctly in your materials, and also that you're using the latest NAAEI and Credential logos. The colors and the styles of those they're all found on the instructor resources page. There's a marketing section there. So for each credential, everything you need is located there for those. Let me just see what other questions I have here. Okay. Just one question somebody asked, do you have to sign in for the resources? Yes. In order to reach the instructor resources and candidate resource sections of our website, you do have to be logged in with your NAA ID. So those are not open to the public. Those are closed areas. With your NAA ID, you can have access to those. Any other questions that we can answer? Somebody asked a question about the exam. If the question asks mark all apply and they mark 4 out of 5, do they miss the question completely? Yes, there is a set list of answers that comprise one correct answer, so they need to answer all of them in order for the question to be marked correctly. How do we sign up for the VISTO webinars? I will be putting together the webinar links similarly to how I do them for our monthly calls, and I will send out those links. I'll send all 3 out together so that, and as Maureen said, you only need to register for one of them, but I'll send out 3 separate links, and you can do those when you're ready. And I will have those available for you very soon. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Please let me know. You can send me an email or give me a call. If you have any more questions, I'll show here all the staff emails and phone numbers. You need to get a hold of anyone. Thank you all very much. Again, we're sorry for the technical difficulties to start the webinar, and hopefully that won't happen again. Enjoy your day.